Aluxers, the COVID figures change faster than the scriptwriter punching in the letters on the keyboard, faster than the voiceover artist recorded and edited the vocals, and certainly quicker than our video editor made all of this look so good. We just can't keep up. So figures and numbers at the time of writing this script were correct, and since our scriptwriter is not a fortune teller, we can only hope the numbers haven't increased exponentially. Welcome to Alux.com. The place where future billionaires come to get inspired. If you're not subscribed yet, you're missing out. Let's have a closer look at the countries going bankrupt because of this damn virus, the countries that will take forever to recover, and the countries where recovery looks like Reese Witherspoon over June to December on the Reese Witherspoon Challenge. So Aluxers, in no particular order. Number 1. Italy. An Italian paper suggests that COVID-19 has been in Italy since September 2019, which could mean that the history of the virus would need to be rewritten and prejudice would change drastically. Whether it started there or not, suffice to say Italy has been brought to its knees. With close to 1.5 million cases and roughly 50,000 deaths, the latest reports suggest that the second wave is slowing down, but hospitals are critically short of trained staff to support those with the virus. Debt, unemployment, and fear are rife amongst Italians, but with the goal of running vaccines from January, perhaps a glimmer of hope for Italy will be just what the Italians need to stay safe over the holiday season. Number 2. Sweden. It's been a fall from grace for the Swedes, who appeared to be the trendsetters for the herd immunity method of dealing with the pandemic. From the onset, there were no lockdowns in place. Life carried on as normal for the then 8th happiest country in the world. Fast forward 8 months, and you have over 200,000 people infected with the coronavirus and around 6,500 dead. They've had to introduce some strict rules and regulations. Swedish Prime Minister Stefan Löfven addressed the country and said, "All the things you would like to do but are not necessary, cancel and postpone." The Swedes will likely take quicker to recover, but the egg on their face will be etched in history forever. Number 3. The USA. The USA is officially number 1, except not in the way they'd hoped. The United States of America is number 1 in the world with the highest number of cases. We lost count after 12,260,000 plus deaths and counting. The situation has left the country divided. Pfizer and its German partner BioNTech have requested emergency authorization for the vaccine to go ahead in the US as numbers continue to rise dramatically. Many deaths could have been avoided had there not been delayed action, incorrect policies in place, and a general negative, can't-touch-me attitude. Economically, as many as 1 in 4 people are struggling to pay their bills and have had to dip into emergency funding, retirements, and other savings. 1 in 6 have borrowed money or received money from a food bank, and 4 out of 10 people have lost their job or know somebody who's lost their job because of COVID. Number 4. The UK. The end of lockdown has been declared as December the 2nd, but let's not get too excited, because currently the Brits are sitting at number 7 with the most infections at over 1.5 million and 55,000 plus deaths. The Prime Minister Boris Johnson was quoted as saying, "For the first time since this wretched virus began, we can see a route out of the pandemic. We know in our hearts that next year we will succeed." According to The Guardian, the full cost of COVID for the UK is still being counted. However, what is confirmed is the second wave is pushing the UK to the brink of double-dip recession. Number 5. South Africa. South Africans started their lockdown journey in March with strict restrictions. No visiting, a ban of alcohol and cigarette sales, everything shut down for business, even the beaches were deemed unsafe. They've moved from level 5 to level 1, and just when they thought freedom was around the corner, they started to get fatigued and the numbers rose drastically. In a country where most people live below the breadline, this has crippled them. Lines of hundreds of people snake outside of post offices so desperate people can collect roughly $23 to last them a month. Millions more are now unemployed, and many businesses have closed their doors permanently. The situation is dire, and the unemployment rate has hit a record high of 30.8%. Number 6. Turkey. Debt is Turkey's middle name. Things were already tough in Turkey. President Erdogan had been on a path of growth at any cost. He's jailed his enemies, seized their assets, and protected those borrowing so he could finance monuments in his honor. Let's not forget his white palace he calls home. To give you an idea of how many enemies he has, he's jailed over 50,000 people, including journalists, police officers, soldiers, academics, and policemen. The lira has plummeted, investors have taken their money out of the country, and the unemployment rate is over 10%. The virus is exacerbating Turkey's economic woes. They've had over 460,000 people infected and deaths of around 12,500. Number 7. Indonesia. What's a $1.5 billion loan amongst friends, Aluxers? That's what Australia is loaning to Indonesia to help get them through this unexpected economic crisis. Foreign investors quickly dumped government bonds and the rupiah crashed. In a country that relies so heavily on tourism, the pandemic is a huge economic blow for its people. The country has seen over 500,000 people infected with the virus, meaning they have the highest numbers of confirmed cases in Southeast Asia. Not a milestone they were hoping for. It didn't help that senior members of Jokowi's cabinet suggested herbal mangosteen juice, eucalyptus necklaces, and good old-fashioned prayer for those infected with COVID. Indonesia has officially entered its first recession in 20 years. Number 8. Spain. King Felipe VI is in self-isolation. The medical council wants the COVID health chief fired, and almost 44,000 deaths have been recorded. It's tough going for Spain. With Christmas and New Year's around the corner, government is desperate to limit the spread and are now planning a 6-person limit on social gatherings over the festive period. Many industries are struggling and not able to operate. Tourism accounts for 12% of Spain's economy, and tourism is dead. Small and medium-sized businesses cannot stay afloat, and low-skilled, young, and temporary workers are the worst hit. Number 9. India. It's no secret that before COVID, India was already gripped by an economic downturn. Promised jobs by Prime Minister Narendra Modi have not materialized, and he's accused of hiding the real extent of unemployment in the country. Add bloody conflicts between minority Muslims and Hindu mobs, a public health catastrophe, mass unemployment, gender-based violence, and now COVID. It's a recipe for disaster. Senior Congress leader Ahmed Patel lost his battle with COVID along with 135,000 others. They're almost peaking at 10 million confirmed cases in total, and the IMF predicts that the recovery itself will take 3 years before India is back at pre-COVID-19 levels. Number 10. France. They're doing everything possible to avoid a third wave. France has already been badly affected by the virus. There's a slight ease in their lockdown measures with 3 steps put in place, beginning in December, then around the holiday time, and finally January 2021. Even Black Friday has been moved so there's no unnecessary gathering. They'd be far better off with Cyber Monday, which you can learn more about by watching our video, 15 Things You Didn't Know About Cyber Monday. French President Emmanuel Macron confirmed that the second wave was circulating at a speed that even most pessimistic forecasts had not anticipated. France has had close to 2.2 million infections and over 50,000 deaths. Hospitals are nearly at capacity. Many have closed because they are literally full, and the economy has dropped by 12%. The Prime Minister Jean Castex is wanting France back on its feet within 18 months and has unveiled a €100 billion coronavirus recovery plan. Number 11. Argentina. For Argentina, it was another nail in the coffin. BC, before COVID, the peso had lost 2/3 of its value. Government debt was 90% of annual economic output. The economy contracted by 2% from previous years, and national fortunes continued to drop. Argentina owes the International Monetary Fund $57 billion. With the pandemic, all the problems that were already there are now even worse. But where does the government get the money from? They don't have a close buddy on their border that can give them a loan like Indonesia had. Close to 1.4 million cases and 38,000 plus deaths, Argentina is now pushing for humanitarian funding. Number 12. Serbia. Serbians are currently experiencing the "things surely can't get worse, but then they did" momentum. So, what do we mean by that? The Serbian Orthodox Church were mourning the loss of their 82-year-old most senior cleric in Montenegro. He died from COVID. Corona 101, don't remove your mask, especially near someone who has COVID. There should have been a disclaimer there though, dead or alive. Many mourners kiss the dead body and COVID spread quickly. Serbia has over 130,000 infections, but their death rate is surprisingly low at 1,274 at the time of this video. There's a drop in economic activity, particularly in manufacturing, transportation, and tourism. Over 500,000 people have lost their jobs, but reports claim that Serbia were able to contain the expansion of poverty. Number 13. Portugal. They're fast approaching the 300,000 confirmed cases mark and are reeling after more than 4,000 deaths. How has Portugal fared with the pandemic? They too rely on the hotel, restaurant, and tour industries to keep their economy afloat. Tourism is 15% of its GDP. Ratings agency Moody's put Portugal, Greece, and Italy as the three countries that have the greatest economic destruction because these countries rely so heavily on small business who don't exactly have the massive financial reserves needed to survive this. It's not all doom and gloom though, because the bicycle industry is booming due to COVID. People are opting to bike where they can to avoid trains, cabs, and public transport, meaning a boom for the bicycle trade in Portugal, who are Europe's largest manufacturers of bicycles. Number 14. Russia. News agencies are reporting packed morgues and excess deaths, which is very different to the pristine, well-managed, and under-control message that's being sent out. Russia has had over 2 million cases, yet not even 40,000 deaths. Many suggest the true figures are being hidden and the death toll is far higher than reported. It wouldn't be good for Russia to report an exponential increase in deaths, especially with their Sputnik vaccine showing 95% efficacy. To date, Russia has not had a lockdown, with authorities encouraging people to keep a safe social distance and to wash their hands. Of course, there have been huge economic losses, but if this vaccine is as effective and as cheap as they say, then Russian stocks will reach record highs in 2021. Number 15. Brazil. It's been a struggle from the start for Brazil, but many deaths could have been avoided if the virus had been taken seriously from the get-go. Now there are over 6 million confirmed cases and deaths in the region of 170,000. The federal government blatantly ignored facts, and when it hit, they were ill-prepared. Primary health care is severely lacking, funding to the most vulnerable came far too late, and there were severe delays in getting essentials to certain regions. Government is now facing a $112 billion refinancing cliff early in 2021. Despite numbers increasing by almost 30,000 a day, government is blaming technical glitches or just a temporary increase. With ongoing mayoral elections, it's believed that restrictions are not becoming tighter to keep the popularity vote high. But Aluxers, you know what doesn't make you popular? Dying from COVID-19. So how has COVID affected your country, Aluxers? We value your opinion in the comments, so share with us. Now, since you stuck with us until the end, we of course have a bonus for you. Famous for the sewing machine, postcards, and now having confirmed over 260,000 cases of COVID. With that knowledge, Austria has gone into lockdown again. Austrians can only leave their homes for groceries, to help someone for an essential service job, and that's it. They're determined to enjoy their Christmas and hopefully their Christmas markets where they can walk without their masks enjoying Glühwein and Lebkuchen. Thanks for watching, Aluxers. We value your support and always love a good thumbs up. And don't forget to subscribe for more great videos every day.